Those of us who have completed the sunnah, if you can please kindly come closer together, fill up the gaps, sit together inshaAllah ta'ala. One of the most important things when a person embarks on studying ilm is steadfastness. Lots of obstacles come about when a person makes an intention to seek knowledge. And a person needs to realize that shaitan will try his utmost, his best, to hold back a person from seeking knowledge. Because a person who seeks ilm, he is equipping himself to be able to combat shaitan. And shaitan will do anything. Like for example, in a fight, there's a weapon on the floor. And your opponent is fighting with you. And you have a weapon on the floor that you could use to defend yourself against that opponent. You can be assured that that opponent, he will try to kick that weapon away from you. He will try everything he can that you don't get your hands on that weapon. Because he knows that no sooner you get your hands on that weapon, you'll use that against him. Seeking ilm, sitting in gatherings like this, and benefiting from the Quran, is most definitely a potent weapon against shaitan. And shaitan will try his utmost to hold you back, to disturb your schedule, to bring about all sorts of excuses for you not to benefit, for you not to be able to continue to benefit from seeking knowledge, thereby squashing any desire you have to defeat him. So this is a reminder for myself and all of us here who are present, and that remain steadfast, inshaAllah ta'ala. You have taken it upon yourself to attend this course, mashaAllah, and you made this intention. May Allah Jalla Jalaluhu allow you to complete it. And every single week is itself a sacrifice, a jihad. And every single week you have to keep on reminding yourself that this is my source of inspiration for the rest of the week. This is my source of gaining hidayah and guidance for the rest of the week, and connecting myself to the Quran and to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray and I beg to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes this sitting of ours a means of our guidance, a means of not only our guidance but the guidance of the entire ummah, inshaAllah ta'ala. We can shut these front lights. And you know, I want to remind yourself as well and myself that when we sit here, we should sit with lofty intentions. We should sit with lofty intentions. Let's not sit here to simply change ourselves. Let's sit and listen, and as I speak, let me speak also with the intention that, Ya Allah, let these words ring through all corners of the world. That hidayah spread and darkness and oppression end through this gathering of ours and through this discussion of the Quranic ayat in the entire world. Based on our intentions, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hopefully bring about the desired results. I can have one of the students, who's here? Fahim Bhai, if you want to just sit with next to the laptop there, inshallah, and then you can just, with your notebook, mashallah, and you can flip to the next slides whenever we are ready to do so. So, this is the second to last ayah we did last week. Talked about three qualities. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem ma ba'd. We talked about the three qualities of ihsan, and they were yuqimuna as-salah, establishing the prayer, giving the alms, zakah, and having faith in akhirah. The next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ayah number 5. Okay, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And then we did the translation about last week. So Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says that those people who have these three qualities of giving zakah, of performing salah, and having strong faith in akhirah, Allah talks about the fact that they are advancing on the path of guidance from their Lord. Now, Quran uses amazing imagery. Arabic has this amazing aspect of imagery. The descriptiveness of the words of the Quran paint a picture that you can just sit back and just watch as though you are seeing, with visual aids something. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ, that these people, they are on the path of guidance. Ala means on top. So when a person is on top of something, if for example, if a person is sitting on top of this chair or sitting on top of this table, not only are you firmly on top of, strongly grounded in something, but along with that, what else happens? You're able to see everything around you because you have a bird's eye view of everything. So, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. There's snakes coming from this side, there's scorpions coming from this side, and so forth. So a person who's sitting on guidance, who has the qualities of ihsan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he is sitting on top of guidance. It has two meanings. One is that just like a train is on top of its railroad tracks, it's firmly established, it's not going to move left and right. This man is on guidance. He's not going to be swayed with the times. He's not going to get pushed with the winds of batil and fitan and whatnot. He's firmly grounded on what he's doing. That's the first understanding we get of Allah. And number two is that since he's on top of the tracks, he's got a bird's eye view of everything. So he's not blindly following. He knows what's right and what's wrong. He's got basira, he's got farsightedness. For example, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, when He speaks about the daughters of Shu'aib in Surah Al-Qasas, He says, تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاء فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاء. That one of the daughters came back walking to go and get Musa alayhi salam on the instructions of her father. Allah describes how she walked to go visit this non-mahram stranger, Musa alayhi salam, who at that time was not a prophet, obviously. Allah says, Tamshi, she came to him walking, ala istihya, on top of modesty. On top of modesty. Meaning, she was the embodiment of modesty. If modesty could be brought up and put into a pile, into a little, mountain, this lady had so much wisdom, so much haya, and so much modesty, it's as though she was sitting on top of it. MashaAllah. And it is mubalagha, it is an extreme form of description of the amount of modesty that she had. That don't let your mind wander away thinking, oh, what was this young girl doing when she went to go invite Musa alayhi salam back at home. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order to clear people's minds up, He uses this descriptive word, ala istihya. Notice, as opposed to this, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu in the Quran, here in this surah as well, in other places, uses fi dalalim mubin. Those people who are not on the right path, they are fi dalal. What dalal? Misguidance. Fi dalalim mubin. They are in open, clear misguidance. The word fi has been used. And fi is a particle which means in. Fi means in. Like fil masjid, inside the masjid. So when a person is misled and astray, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, fi dalal, he is inside misguidance. What happens when you're in something? You're in a box. Then you can't see what's around you. You get blinded to the reality. You get blinded from the reality of the world. Meaning a person who gets moved away from Islam and falls into misguidance, then he becomes so blinded by that he's not able to see the truth. No matter what you present to him, he's stuck. Look at in today's climate, what's going on. Some things are just straightforward, straight up wrong. Completely blatant lies from top to bottom. But they're genuinely, people are so lost, they don't see, they are not able to differentiate between right and wrong, between night and day. And you look at, and your jaws drop, and you look at them and say, how in the world do you believe such claims? فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. They are completely lost in their misguidance that they cannot see the light of day. So Allah Jalla Jalaluhu here talks about that these people are sitting on top of their guidance. Now where does this guidance come from? Min Rabbihim. And notice the word Rabb comes. Rabb is caretaker. Caretaker. The closest thing we have of murabbi is our mothers. She's always there looking after. Tarbiyah means you take care of the needs of the child at every stage. So there's a stage in a life where a child needs mother's milk. There's a stage in life where the child needs applesauce. There's a stage where a child needs softened vegetables or softened cereal. And then as the child grows, the child's needs differentiate and move forward. And of course, now he needs meat and he needs chicken and he needs all kinds of stores. And then there'll be a time, many years down the line, where he'll be able to even enjoy steak, for example. The needs differ. Tarbiyah is to give what something needs on the basis of that time. At that time, what is needed? That's called tarbiyah. Just like a plant is taken care of from the time it's a seed all the way till it becomes a big tree, and the needs differ. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is our Rabb, Rabbul Alameen. He takes care of our needs right from the time we're in the womb of our mother. From the very beginning as a zygote, all the way till we are Shaykhun Harim, until we're an old man about to pass away, an old woman about to pass away. Whatever needs they are, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is giving. That's the word tarbiyah, and comes from Rabb. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, it's part of my caretaking nature for humanity that I give you hidayah. Hidayah comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And it is these who are the truly successful. And hum, this is a separate pronoun that's been added here. You didn't have to add that. It's been added here. This alif lam has been added here to give emphasis. The successful. What does that do? What we call in Arabic hasr. It basically excludes everyone else besides. That these are the only successful people. No one besides them is successful. Muflihun. This word comes from falah. Falah. Falah means success, foes. And the actual word falah is to cut open something. Okay? To cut open something. And that's why fallahatul ard is to cut open the earth in order to sow and plant seeds within it. Fallah is known as a farmer. Maybe you've heard of this word. Fallah is a farmer. Right? Fallahin, our Palestinian brothers recognize that word. The fallah. Right? So the farmers. So fallah is to split open the earth and you put something seed in it. So subhanAllah, falah means that a person, he split through and he cut through all the difficulties like an icebreaker that cuts through all the ice to get to that ship that is stranded. Similarly, this man, he cuts through all the difficulties and he gets to his maqsad, his purpose, which is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Notice that word, falah. Falah comes from falah, which means to cut open. And this person cuts open through difficulties. So my brothers and sisters, in order to become successful, it's not an easy way out. It's not an easy ride. No, absolutely not. You have to work hard. There will be pain. No pain, no gain, as they say. It was always true, and it is most definitely true nowadays. If you and I want to be on the straight path, if you and I want to be successful in this world right now, with the way things are going, get ready, roll up your sleeves and get ready to work. It's definitely not going to be an easy time, unfortunately. That's how it is. It's always been like that. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. The next ayat, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, ayah number 6, He talks about those people who are not muhsineen. Those who are not muhsineen. Remember, we already talked about the muhsineen. Second group of people. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ. And there are some people, yet amongst the humankind, there are some. They are those who traffic in idle tales without revealed knowledge. What is the purpose? لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So that they lead others astray from the path of Allah. وَيَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا. Thus they make a mockery of Allah's verses. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. For such as these, there is a disgracing torment waiting in the hereafter. So there's much can be said. We can spend the entire hour on this ayah right here. It's a very important ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the second group of people. These are not the muhsineen. They are far away from ihsan. These are the bad people. What do? Not only are they astray, but they live off, they thrive off leading others astray. And they are not happy to be alone. As they say, misery loves company. Misery loves company. So they want to make sure that their party is getting bigger and bigger. That's how shaitan likes it. Shaitan wants more. So these ayat have been revealed possibly regarding Nadr bin Harith. Nadr bin Harith was an individual from amongst the polytheists and mushrikeen of Mecca. And he would, not only was he a mushrik, a non-Muslim, but he used to hate anyone accepting Islam. So according to some narrations, what he had done is that he went overseas, far away to the lands of Persia and Rome and whatnot. And he brought on stories, novels. And when he would see anyone is sitting there intending to become a Muslim, being affected by the Quran, he would go sit to that, and by that individual, and he would begin to narrate stories of the past, of the bygone. Nice old fairy tales. Very interesting. 1001 Nights, who said it's not interesting? Right? All sorts of Harry Potter-like things. Who said it's not interesting? It's very jadhib. It really is awesome. It's inspiring. People, once they pick up a book, they can't let go of it. 700 pages, 600 pages, you just can't let go of it. It's just too interesting. All night, all day. That's what it is. It's meant to be that. It's supposed to be attractive. So he would go and he would share these stories, and then he would say, listen man, are these stories more fun and interesting, or is that Quran that you're hearing about? You have to do this, you don't have to do that, this halal, this all this type of things. According to some other narrations, he would go and bring slave girls. He would go purchase slave girls that had beautiful voices. And he would go and sit in front of the people who are about to accept Islam, and he would ask these girls to sing. And obviously when they used to sing, they used to take people for a ride. They had a real nice time. He said, listen, why don't you eat, enjoy, have fun, and listen to these beautiful girls singing and all the other romantic songs that they share with you, and sit back and enjoy. Why you want to go towards Islam? So the ayah, it may have been revealed about him, but it's general in its sense about all those people who do that. What do? Not only they're astray, but they strive to make others astray as well. Lahu al-hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about lahu. Lahu means ma yulhika, alhaakum at-takathur. Alhaakum at-takathur. What does alha yulhi ilha? Lahu means something which makes you heedless. Lahu is something of entertainment which makes you heedless. It's interesting, Quran, whenever it talks about lahu and la'ib, lahu means entertainment and la'ib means play. La'ib has a meaning of play in which there is some benefit possibly. You might be able to do some physical activity. Lahu is entertainment in which there is no benefit of the dunya or akhirah. It's just a pastime. Wherever the lahu is mentioned in the Quran, it's always in a negative sense. Nowhere has lahu or entertainment been used in the Quran in a positive sense. So basically the Quran talks about such things which waste your time, are of no benefit in this world or the next. These are things you should stay away from. Definitely we should have fun time. Whether it's physical activity or whether it's sitting there and just simply, speaking about certain things that make you happy. That's all right, beneficial to keep you upbeat. Rawwihu. Sa'atan fa sa'atan, as mentioned in some narrations, that, relax. From time to time, relax. Remove that, and pressure and anxiety from your heart, from your mind. Do relax. But do it in a manner that is beneficial to you. Do not speak about things or do things which are of no benefit. Watching things and listening to things which are of no benefit, especially which are harmful. So lahu, as I said, is anything which, what does it do? What's the definition? Can anyone tell me? Which makes you heedless. Which makes you heedless. Like as I mentioned to you, the Quran, alhaakumut takathur. Competition amongst yourselves has made you heedless of the big picture. Just trying to compete. Who can get bigger homes? Who can get larger amounts of wealth? That competition, alhaakum, it has made you heedless. So lahu is anything that made you heedless. Hadith means talking. Any speech that is of no use. So this includes, according to the scholars, stories, novels, fictional novels, especially those novels which have haram, which are of the evil type. Fuhsh and so forth in there. And along with that, the ulama have extensively mentioned here music. If you look at Tafseer al-Qurtubi, or if you look at many of the other books of the elders, of the senior scholars of the previous generations, from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th century, all the way till now, you will see that overwhelming majority of scholars have explained this ayah, lahu al-hadith, as referring to music. And via music, of course, everything else like that. Music would include, of course, any type of other haram entertainment that includes that, movies and so forth. Now, before we get into the fiqhi rulings of that, this may not be the place or the time for that, but I want all of us to understand, before we hear about ahadith and stuff, that these are two separate things. Like water and oil cannot mix. You can say whatever you want, they just can't mix. Similarly, a heart that is filled with lahu, with entertaining things that make a person forget about the hereafter, that can never gel with the love and the fear of Allah and preparation of the hereafter. This is all like an opium drug. The idea of this is to make you forget the real purpose in life. When do people go to pubs? When things are going bad in life, you'll see them at the pubs, more at the bars. When the stocks go crashing, you'll see the bars full. It's a normal phenomena. You can study at any time. When people get angry, upset, they put their music real up high, and they just make themselves deaf to every other bad news. And they say, let us just hear this and make ourselves forget of the real reality. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says in the Quran, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. O shaitan, I'm giving you respite. This is Surah Bani Israel. O shaitan, I'm giving you respite. You asked me for some time, I'll give you time. Now, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ. Try to attract whoever you can. Allah is addressing who? Shaitan. Try to attract whoever you can. Pull to whomever you can. بِصَوْتِكَ. What does salt mean? Anyone here know what salt means? Voice. Sawt means voice. Attract whoever you can with your voice. وَأَجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ. And so forth. Allah talks about how shaitan has been endowed with certain powers to deceive certain people. And one of the first thing the ayah mentions after talking about all the other weapons that shaitan has been given, the first thing Allah uses is sawt, your voice. What is that voice? Besides the whispering, when you speak to people, non-Muslims who have converted, Muslims who are addicted to music who stopped, speak to them. And they'll tell you, subhanAllah, the non-stop inspirations and voices in their hearts, in their minds that they would get to kill, to fornicate, to consume haram, to use intoxicants. I'm not even talking about, subhanAllah, backtracking here. I'm not even talking about just some of those lyrics are straightforward. Just Google them. You just read the lyrics. It's just so you don't have to even Google them. Just roll down your windows and you hear it. Go, everywhere around you, in the gym and in the stoplight, just straight up, F this, B this, and whatnot. So that's straightforward da'wah. That's the voice of shaitan. But even if it's not so clear cut, because that's a no-brainer. Many times a brother will come and say, subhanAllah, I don't know, man. Every time I want to pray, my mind, I'm not able to concentrate. Other horrible thoughts come to my mind. Every time I open the Quran, a brother told me this. Every time I open the Quran, I swear, he was in i'tikaf here, he told me this. Every time I open the Quran, the words disappear. The words disappear. He was almost a hafiz of the Quran. But he had ended up in so much sin. Now he tried to run away from that and came to the masjid in the month of Ramadan. But he said, now, I open the Quran and it's clear white pages. Wallahi, he told me this. What's going on? This heart is one heart. You can't have both of these things. Either it's going to become a heart of shaitan, it's going to be a heart of Rahman. It's either going to have music in there or it's going to have verses of the Quran in there. It cannot be possible that you have both. That we're going to have concentration and devotion in salah and at the same time listen to our favorite music on the way back home from the masjid. Besides the fiqhi rulings, is it haram, what's permissible, is semi-Yusuf okay, this one, that one. Leave all that aside. Ask anyone who's indulged in music. Today, the majority of youth. And sad to say, lots and lots of students of the Quran. Lots and lots. If this is happening with the students of the Quran, imagine the average youth out there. Because it's offered all over the place, everywhere. And it's shaitan speaking to you. That's why even me, even a 2-year-old put on music and you'll see he start dancing. Did he watch it on TV? No, he didn't, my friend. Did he learn it at school? No, he didn't. He's at home. But put music and you'll see how he'll start dancing to that music. That's shaitan making those movements. Where does this tap start coming from? Where do we start tapping our feet, tapping our fingers, and just start shaking from side to side? Naturally speaking, you can have the biggest beard, you can have the nicest hijab. But you put on the music on there, and you'll move with it. It hits the heart. It's meant to do that. It's meant to do that. It's meant to hit you in a manner that you have no idea where you're coming from. And attract you towards that. Because it has an attractive nature. No one can say that, no, I'm not attracted to music. There is definitely certain musics that will attract all of us. But that's the whole idea. Why do you think it's such a huge part of an advertisement? Have you ever seen an advertisement on radio or on TV that doesn't use music? Because that is how you attract the listener, through music. And if you want the attention, whether you want to advertise toothpaste or you want to advertise a car, use music for that. Allahu Akbar, we come in a time now when the Muslim Ummah has fallen prey to this shaitani effort and devil. It's not that people are listening to rap on the way back and they're hiding it. Oh, I'm just listening to Mashari Rashid. And then actually, they change the channel. No, okay, I understand that. They're trying to hide from their parents, the teachers listening to music, and then they put on a Quran channel. Today, just last night, I visited a website that is advertising learning Arabic and talks about the benefits of learning Arabic language to understand the depths of the Quran. Awesome. I was inspired by the website, inspired by what the teachers and what the staff and what the customers had to say. But what shocked me was that the promo video and the entire video had music in the background. And I'm just sitting there and saying, what Quran are you inviting? That's not the Quran that I'm speaking about today in this tafsir. This must be some other Quran. Because the Quran that I know is against this. The Quran that I know will never come into the heart that is attracted to this trashy stuff. It's attractive to me as well. But if I make a habit of listening to that, I cannot expect the nur of Allah, the nur of Quran to come into this heart. So the Muslims have fallen prey to this, that now they're advertising Islamic events, conferences, retreats, and now Arabic Quran intensives with background music. Why? Because they also figured it out, obviously, that music is attractive. Not realizing the reason it's attractive is because it's shaitan pulling the strings. So you're using shaitan's methods to get people into a madrasa or an Islamic school or an Islamic intensive, whatnot. My dear brothers and sisters, we are witnessing what the Prophet ﷺ had warned long ago. He said, ظَهَرَتِ الْقَيَنَاتُ وَالْمَعَازِفِ. Before the end of times, singing girls and musical instruments will become common. And another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ from the signs of the Day of Judgment said, ارتفعت الأصوات في المساجد. Voices will become raised in the masjid. But yet in another hadith, this voices has been qualified furthermore by saying the voices of singing girls. So now a person thinks, which singing girls are we talking about? And where is the musicians coming into the masjid? But obviously now we have YouTube and we have musical Bollywood and Hollywood phone tunes. Wherever you go. In the Haram, Makkah, Medina, Masjid al-Nabawi, Masjid al-Haram, to any other masjid. That you've got musical ringtones of all sorts of musicians and subhanAllah, pop stars that people you can hear in the middle of Isha, middle of Fajr, middle of Tahajjud. The Prophet ﷺ also said how ma'roof will become munkar and munkar will become ma'roof. Good will become evil and evil will become good. That today, to speak against music, it's as though you are, attracting a storm against yourself. Because people will say, what? Did you really say that? That I'm not supposed to listen to music? I know that very well when I speak here. And definitely I rarely have ever spoken about it elsewhere. This is a small crowd here of people who are determined to learn, to come closer to Allah, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. But it's such a topic that has become so taboo. Why has it become taboo? Because it's swept like a storm. Islamic institutes and their fundraisers are playing music. So how do you expect the average layman to regard it as haram? You get my point? And the Prophet ﷺ already said that. Evil will become good and good will become evil. My brothers, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi rahmatullahi alayh, in his book, Ighathatul Lahfan, he has mentioned lots and lots of narrations about this. And I just want to share you a few. A person came to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he asked about ghina, about music, singing. He said, أَحَلَالٌ هُوَ أَمْ حَرَامٌ? Of course, just singing poetry is nothing wrong with that. If it's clean poetry, it's nothing wrong with that. But it's with musical instruments where it becomes impermissible. He said, غِنَا أَحَلَالٌ هُوَ أَمْ حَرَامٌ? Is it permissible or is it impermissible? So then Abdullah ibn Abbas flipped this question and asked him. He said, أَرَأَيْتَ الْحَقَّ وَالْبَاطِلِ إِذَا جَاءَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَأَيْنَ يَكُونُ الْغِنَى? He said, brother, tell me, on the day of judgment, when falsehood and truth will come on the day of judgment, what is your opinion? Where do you think music will be? You tell me. Let me put this question back to you. On the day of judgment, when right and falsehood, truthhood and falsehood will come, where do you think music will be? The Prophet, this man told Abdullah ibn Abbas, we all know it in the heart. We all know it. Alhamdulillah, we have that nur of iman within us. We just got to listen to it. You know what I mean? We just have to listen to it. You have to do some fine tuning. You know, sometimes you have the old radios that, before we have the digital radios back in madrasa, I used to have the big radios, sit there trying to find the dial to BBC and whatnot. It sometimes take a good 5-10 minutes, or 5 minutes at least. We all have that. But once you get it, you know how loud it is? It was clear. Besides that, it was all, you know, black, what do we call that? White noise, all the other things in there. We have the voice within us that's saying, this is halal, this is haram. But it's being drowned out by all the other things. We need to do some fine tuning to be able to find that voice within ourselves. Then you don't need to come to ask a mufti. Your inside your heart will tell you, this is right, this is wrong. So Abdullah ibn Abbas wanted the mufti of the heart to speak. He said, you tell me, when truthhood and falsehood will come out on the day of judgment, truth and falsehood will come out on the day of judgment, where will ghina will be? The person replied, يَكُونُ مَعَ الْبَاطِلِ. He said, it's going to be with falsehood. فقال له Ibn Abbas said, اذهب, go. فقد أفتيت نفسك. You've already given a fatwa to yourself. MashaAllah. I love this style. It was awesome. He flipped the question back on him and said, you make the decision. And he came to the right decision. That's why I started off with this discussion before getting to the fiqh of it. You ask yourself, can it be possible for us to grow spiritually? Does it make you feel like, I love Allah when you listen to music? Do you feel like, okay, you want to open the Quran and spend endless hours on it? Do you feel like you want to stand up and pray salah after that? We all know the answer to that. Obviously not. Instead, what happens? It leads to shahawat. It leads to all sorts of other lustful things. And this hence is the next statement. Fudayl ibn Ayad rahmatullahi alayhi, one of the great pious righteous elders of our past, he said, Al-ghina'u ruqyatu zina, or Al-ghina'u da'iyatu zina. The ghina, music, is a step that invites you, or a stepping stone towards fornication. That's what it leads to. Those shahwat today, where youth come and say, I feel this lust is overpowering me. Brother, where did that come from? It's not just just randomly happening that we drink this water and all of a sudden a person has a desire. Absolutely not. We are consuming this haram that's going into our ear and it's corrupting the mind. The Prophet ﷺ said in another hadith regarding ghina, the Prophet ﷺ said, before the end of times, he said, لا يشربن أناس من أمتي الخمر. There will be a time when certain people from my nation will be drinking wine. يسمونه بغير اسمها. They will name it with another name. They'll call it something else. They won't call it liquor or wine. They'll say non-alcoholic this, or just 0.5% alcohol or something like that. يعزف على رؤوسهم بالمعازف والمغنيات. Singing girls along with musical instruments will be performing in front of them. يَخْسِفُ اللَّهُ بِهِمُ الْأَرْضَ. Allah will make the earth open up upon them and swallow them. وَيَجْعَلُ مِنْهُمُ الْقِرَدَةَ وَالْخَنَازِيرَ. And Allah shall make some from amongst them in the form of monkeys, while others will in the form of swine. This is a punishment that has already come or shall come. Still, we don't know. Allah knows best. And it can happen many times. It doesn't have to happen just once. The idea, my brothers and sisters, is that before you and I discuss this at length from a fiqhi perspective, you ask your own mufti, is this music taking us closer to Allah or not? And the answer, I am sure you will come and arrive at, absolutely not. It takes a big step. It takes a big step, but you have to do that. There was a brother who I met in one state. He told me he had like 50 gigabytes of music. 50 gigabytes downloaded in a huge hard drive of some sort. And he actually was an atheist from a Muslim country. He was a physicist. He was an atheist. But mashallah ta'ala, subhanallah, when iman comes into you, but that's it. He became a Muslim. I'm sorry, this is the word I have to use because this is what he told me. He said, I heard a khutbah, I read an ayat of the Quran and I came back to Islam. When he came back to Islam, he heard the Imam Sahib one day after Isha just mentioning how on the passing that music is haram. He came and said, Imam Sahib, is it haram? Did you just say it's haram? Okay, what do I do? The Imam Sahib got scared. He said, 50 gigabytes, he wanted to take it easy. He said, it's haram, period. Next day he came and he himself told me this. He said, Khalas, I went and did it. Once I have chosen I'm Allah's slave and I want Jannah, then what's the question here? If I was still in taraddud, if I was doubting whether if I want to go to paradise or hell, okay. But I've decided I want to go to Jannah and Abdullah, khalas. When I was in the state of atheism, then that was a different issue. But now that I'm a Muslim, there's no options. There's no choice. I want the pleasure of Allah. It's a simple Control, Alt, Delete, and that's it. That's it. So we have to sometimes go cold turkey on these things. Sometimes wean ourselves off of it, depending on what works for us, by getting into, halal Islamic anasheeds and Quran and whatnot. But let me also be telling you this, that Sami Yusuf type of things is actually a mockery of Islam. In any of those type of things. And I'm not saying this from my own, I'm saying this from ulama have said. If a person listens to music, you at least listen, music you feel bad, it's haram. But when we listen to Islamic lyrics, astaghfirullah, shaitan is telling us you're doing good, keep on playing it. Play it in here and play it in there, because it's halal stuff. The lyrics may be good, but if it's packaged with music, then it's bad. And it's worse if it makes a person think that what I'm doing is right. If a person is listening to haram and he feels guilty, astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive me, and he says astaghfar and goes to sleep. That's better than someone who thinks, mashallah, I'm inspired and goes to sleep. Do you get my point? So that's of a bigger harm, possibly, if a person doesn't realize what he's doing is haram. May Allah Almighty give all of us the strength to leave this habit and to grant us the ability to remain steadfast, and our youth especially, our young boys and girls, and our adults as well, who have this habit. May Allah Jalla Jalalu allow them to begin to enjoy Quranic recitation the way shaitan has beautified for us haram. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our hearts, fill that. Why? There's a void in the heart. As soon as you sit in the car, you got to turn it on. There's a void, you want something. My brothers, my sisters, that void will not get filled with music. That void will not get filled with movies. That void will not get filled with drugs. It will get filled only with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is get only filled with the dhikr of Allah. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, once again, that these are people who purchase, who traffic, and who do business. And the whole purpose of this is to lead people astray. That entertainment industry, what has it done? It will make a person watch a movie for 3.5 hours without, even though he has to go to the bathroom, but he'll hold it. And after half an hour of dars, a person starts falling asleep. If we just started having movie night here, the whole masjid will be packed. But look at, subhanAllah, just look at ourselves, how hard it is for us to come. For the ummah, mashallah, may Allah reward you and bless you immensely for your sacrifice. But I'm talking about other people. You say, come, just sit for 45 minutes for a dars, difficult. If the imam leads like a nice long 10 rak'ah Isha salah, 10 minutes, man, that was long today. Remember Tarawih time, everyone? Today is 1 minute extra. But if it's an entertainment, if it's a football game, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, no problem at all. This is what it does. Entertainment makes Islamic things fun. That's why little kids say, oh, I hear kids say, Dad, I don't want to go to the bayan again. It's so boring. Right? What is that? Because they've been accustomed to entertainment on the phones, on the iPhone, iPad, non-stop characters moving up and down. So they want the Mufti Sahib to jump up and down to do some jumping jack, tricks. So when he doesn't do that, then it's boring. So entertainment has made us accustomed to a lifestyle which does not allow us to benefit from a dars like this. You get what I'm saying? That entertainment industry doesn't allow us to come early 20 minutes before Jummah, or rather on time at 1 o'clock, and to sit and listen to dars, because he's not cracking jokes every 30 seconds. You know when you have that every 30 seconds, the artificial laughter in the background? Well, we want that in a Jummah khutbah. Well, you're not going to get that. That's not the place for this. This is not entertainment central. This is not comedy central. This is a masjid and a house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That entertainment has put in such a difficult, or rather a thick a wall and barrier between our hearts and the Quran and Sunnah, that we cannot sit and benefit for 45 minutes, 50 minutes. We feel bored. We feel disconnected. My brothers and sisters, very dangerous. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, وَيَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا. When a person goes far away from the deen and through entertainment, then comes a scary next step. What is a scary next step? يَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا. He makes a mockery of it. Quran, masjid, you crazy? You think I'm going to spend a Friday night over there? He begins to make a mockery of the deen. That's really, really dangerous. One is a person doesn't practice the deen. One is a person says, really, what kind of crazy scholar would say that's haram? Man, these guys are nuts. Making fun of the deen. When a person starts making fun of the deen, that's borderline kufr then. That's now disbelief. So if we don't follow the sunnah, may Allah give me and you and I the strength, because I myself, I've neglected so many sunnah. But please, never, ever, ever, ever mock at the sunnah. Just say, mashallah, that's good for him, may Allah give me tawfiq. But never, when you hear someone does a practice of sunnah, although it may seem outlandish, it may seem impractical, Allah forgive me and for you to ever think about this, think as a sunnah as being outlandish or out of style or whatnot. But never ever poke fun of it, because this leads to kufr. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. Allah says there's going to be a disgracing torment here. Meaning, these people, they disgraced the sunnah or disgraced Islam, hence the punishment is going to be disgracing them as well. Now, this is pretty interesting. The word muheen has come here. Muheen, ahana, yuhinu, ihana means disgracing. In Urdu also, ihanat. When does a person feel disgraced? When he's scolded at when he's alone, or he's scolded at in front of other people? You tell me. Huh? In front of other people, right? So there's two aspects of a punishment. One is being painful, and one is being disgracing. In order for it to be disgracing, it has to be done in front of other people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why He says, this person who through music, entertainment, whatnot, he led other people astray, on the day of judgment, all of those people will be brought in front of him. And he will be given this horrible punishment and will be disgraced in front of them. You understand that? This muheen has been brought here because, look at lahum. Lahum is plural. For all of them, there will be a disgraceful punishment, because the man who misled them, as well as all of those who were misled, all together will be in this hellfire. And they will be disgraced in front of each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, continuing, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا. For when our revealed verses of the Quran are recited to such people, وَلَّا مُسْتَكْبِرًا. He turns away. And not only that, مُسْتَكْبِرًا, in arrogance. And not only that, كَأَلَّمْ يَسْمَعْهَا, as though he never even heard the verses of the Quran. And not only that, كَأَنَّ فِي أُذَنَيْهِ وَقْرًا, as if utter deafness was thrust in his ears. فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. So give him the heavy tidings of a most painful torment in the hereafter. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is talking about here that these people in the entertainment business, it's not like they don't know what Quran is about. And more specifically, this ayah was revealed regarding which individual? Does anyone remember the name? What was his name? Nadar bin Haris. Very good. If we're forgetting in 10 minutes, my friends, that means we're not taking good notes. Nadar bin Harith. Okay? Nadar bin Harith. It was that individual. When the verses of the Quran were recited to him, he did 4 things. Wallah, he turned around. Number 2, mustakbiran, he acted arrogantly. Some people turn around without arrogance. No, he turned around arrogantly, number 2. Number 3, he acted as though he never heard it. And number 4, he acted so defiantly as though, look at waqara means like, you know, what do you call this? Like earplugs we have? Cork? A cork. Waqara is like a cork. If someone were to shove a cork down a person's ear, there's no chance of you hearing anything. That is how deaf they act in front of the Quran. As though they, like, there is no waqr there. There is no actual cork or earplug in their ear. But no matter how much you recite to them from the Quran, it doesn't have an effect on the heart. Such are the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Bashara, what does Bashara mean? What does Bashara mean? Ji? Glad tidings. Good. Allah says, give him the glad tidings of a most painful torment. Subhanallah. This is called in Arabic tahakkum. Tahakkum means sarcasm. And more specifically here, al-jaza min jinsil amal is a rule. You get punished in the same manner that you committed the action. Like a person who is disrespectful to his parents, Allah forbid, the punishment comes by in the form of disrespectful children. You understand? So, these people, they made a mockery of the Quran, like we just talked about. They made a mockery of the Sunnah. So Allah is making a mockery of them. He's like, take the glad tidings of a nice, beautiful, painful punishment. You understand? A mockery. You're going to make a fun of my Quranic verses? Tayyib, I'm going to take you for a ride too then. I'm going to have fun with you. You have fun with my verses? Every person has his day. I'm letting you go now. Tomorrow is going to be the day where I show you. Today I let you go. I let you say whatever you want against Allah and His Rasul. Look at azadi and the freedom Allah has given to people today. The way they speak about Allah today, the way they speak about Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. This is the forbearance of Allah that He's allowing. We say as Muslims we're getting abused. We have to hear all this nonsense. about people abusing and accusing Allah and His Rasul, correct? But that's what the Prophet ﷺ said, I have not seen anyone more forbearing than Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, I have not seen anyone more forbearing than Allah. يَدَّعُونَ لَهُ الْوَلَدِ They ascribe a son to Him. They say Allah has a son, Allah is weak, He has a son. But yet, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, what does He do? يُعَافِيهِمْ Allah gives them afiyah, well-being, gives them health, He gives them wealth, He gives them peace and security. So today people are accusing of Allah and His Quran about so many hideous things. Allah is patient, forbearing. He's letting them go. Because today is the day of testing. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does He do? He matches their mockery with a mockery. And He says, I'm giving you the glad tidings of a terrible punishment. Now notice here, my friends, adhabin alim. What was the word that was reused previously? What was it? Muhin. And what did muhin mean? What did muhin mean? Ihana, disgraceful. Right, good. Disgraceful. And alim means painful. There's a difference, correct? Notice here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ When the ayats are recited to him, not to all of them, then he acts like these four things. He acts like he never heard it, he turns around, he acts arrogantly, you understand? So in this ayah we're speaking about the individual who brought those stories. Nadhr bin Harith, or anyone who's in that entertainment business with the pure intention of misleading people away from Islam. We're speaking about him individually. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses فَبَشِّرْهُ singular. And in the previous ayat, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ was plural. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about both people. The man who misled them and all the people who were misled. Plural. And here in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about فَبَشِّرْهُ, just one individual. So notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says just painful. Why? Because in order for it to be disgraceful, you have to have other people there. You have to have other people there. I'm telling you, so don't just, Hafiz, Hufash, and just Muhin, Alim, it's the same thing, whatever, just chalte jao, bhai. As long as it sounds nice at the end, the noon at the end, or the meme at the end. No, each and every single word of the Quran, mashallah ta'ala, is placed there for a specific reason, mashallah. Muhin, because everyone else is there. Alim, it's going to be painful, but he might be alone, so it won't be truly disgraceful until other people are watching him over there. Idha, this word here, idha. When. There's another word for when in the Quran is called in. When. The difference between idha and in is idha ja'a nasrullah, when the help of Allah come, for example, in other places. Idha comes for something which happens many times, which it will happen for sure. In is for something which rarely happens or may not happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses here idha. Number two, Allah uses tutla, which is the current verb tense, present verb tense, which we call mudari'. Why am I mentioning that? Basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that our verses are continuously being recited upon this individual. Meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam kept on giving da'wah to this individual, Nadhr bin Harith. And the Muslims didn't give up on him. And Rasulullah didn't give up on him, although he was involved in the business of trying to persuade people away from Islam and from Quran. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't say, forget about him. Who in the world, how is he ever going to get guided? Nope. Even though he was a mastermind in trying to dissuade people from Islam, yet the Prophet ﷺ kept his da'wat up. So we should never give up hope upon anyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take the people who are the source of spreading evil today. This our dua should be. Really, we should make dua. Ya Allah, all the people who are in kufr and shirk today, who you have given them arms, you have given them wealth, money, looks, everything. Ya Allah, allow them to be guided, and whatever sources you have given them and resources you have given them, allow them to use those resources for the deed. Bas, all you have to do is change the cap. You don't have to change anything. They've got all the resources and the money and everything else but it's right now being used for kufr. Just simply change the direction of the heart, and all of those resources, kama hiya, as is, can be used for Islam. How many of us can really say that we're making dua every night? How many of us here have actually made dua for the worst criminals of this world, for the worst oppressors of this world, for the worst despots and tyrants of this world, for the accesses of evil, the real accesses of evil, whatever, all there that are causing fitna? How many of us have actually prayed for them? This is the question. It's easy to sit there and condemn this and that, but my brothers and sisters, we really have to spend some time making dua. This ummah has been sent as a mercy. We have to have mercy for even our enemies. And that's what we have to do. Today, in the climate that we live in, We cannot repel harshness and evil with evil. We must repel that with softness, with kindness. I'm serious. Repel that with kindness and seriousness, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see what He does. If I may go on a tangent here and share a story with you. Allahu Akbar, it just came to my mind. I was in India spending time in Jamaat in 2007. And I had a brother with me from Canada. And he narrated an incident, and which touched me, I just marveled at that subhanAllah, people like this exist in the world. Which is, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The Prophet ﷺ was sent as a source of mercy. You're supposed to have mercy for everyone. So he said there was a revert brother. He accepted Islam, convert in Canada. And he went out in Jamaat with the local brothers. Went out for 3 days, whatnot. In that time, they went for jawla, they went for ziyarah, they went to go visit someone. And when you go for visit someone, when your Muslim goes visit a Muslim, again, ma'rufa munkara wal munkara ma'rufa. Today, receiving missionary groups at our house has become completely normal. But a Muslim comes to the house, all of a sudden it becomes antagonizing, becomes upsetting. Every single day, right here in these apartments, we have missionary groups working. And guess what? African Americans learning Urdu and giving da'wah to our own musallis here. I'm not making this up. But when a Muslim goes visit to another Muslim, all of a sudden he's like, I'm not sure, where'd you get my address? What's a whole bunch of things. By the way, I don't know. I love you for the sake of Allah. You're supposed to love me for the sake of Allah. You come to my house, I come to your house. This is so weird that we haven't come to each other's homes before. But things have switched around nowadays. So he went to that house. It was a Muslim family. It was a young boy. And the mother and child came out, or the mother and the 15-year-old, whatever, 16-year-old, were taking groceries. So the brothers from Jamaat came speaking to this kid. So the boy was listening, and he said, I'll come back in a minute. Can you give me a minute? And so he went inside. He went inside, they waited, it was a couple more minutes, and no one came out. All of a sudden, the father came. I guess he was coming from work, I don't know where he was. He showed up in another car. And the father came, and they had the garbage outside the driveway. And next to the garbage, they had a big stick. And, it was a stick with solid nails in it. This man took that, and he came after them and physically started beating them up. So these brothers of the Jamaat, they ran, right? They were like, oh my God, what's going on over here? So they ran to their car, and they said, bye, let's get out of here. This revert brother was in, a little bit of emotional josh and whatnot, excitement. He's like, no. He said, brother, I came here for the sake of your son. Please, what in the world are you doing? He kept on talking to him, and this guy went nonstop. He scratched him, made him bleed all over his body. He kept on going. And these brothers, what they did, they left. And they said, we'll make a round. Because he came after the car and started scraping the whole car with the nails. So they made a roundabout, and then they came back, and they kept the door open, like, jump in. And they had to go literally drag this guy off of the lawn and put him inside. And he's bleeding all over. He goes back to the Muslim doing to revert. Because why did you come to my house to invite me to the masjid? That's how bad things can get. So he went to the masjid, and after a while, the cop showed up, and they said, we got a call that there's some terrorists here, and are inviting towards some terrorist organization in this mosque, and they've been going around. That's what the idea is, same type of thing. So when the police came and saw that the so-called terrorist is bleeding from top to bottom, and the brothers in the Jamaat are trying to wash him in the wuzukhana, and his whole jacket is torn up, they're like, what in the world going on over here? So they narrated the incident, that, we got assaulted on the lawn like this. It's not like there was a sign there that, and no one's allowed or whatnot, type of thing like that. So he asked them, would you like to press charges? You have a right to press charges here, reverse charges. They said, no, absolutely not. That's not the goal. We forgive them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like Rasulullah would do. They don't know better. They just don't know better. That's why they got this animosity against Muslims. Type of thing like that. So that news reached that father eventually, There's that whole day when he sent the cop said, no, not only I'm not going to do anything to him, I'm lucky I'm letting you go that they didn't file charges against you after I saw what you did to them. The night came, the Jamaat was in the masjid, that brother came, Muslim brother, came to the masjid, Isha time. And he said, where's that brother? He met him, that revert brother. He said, brother, I came to apologize. I don't know what to do. Here's some money. How do I, repay you back for what you did? He said, brother, I want nothing from you. I came for your own guidance, for hidayat, for best for you, out of love for you. That's it. And this is what you did. I don't want any money from you. He was so moved by that. He said, what do you want from me? He said, we're out for 40 days right now. I would love if you would join me. Wallahi, this brother said he went back home. He packed up his bag, the bedding, and came and joined them that same night. And went out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the entire time. Akhlaq, character, and true love changes the most harshest of hearts. From someone who is about to physically abuse and physically almost try to kill you with nails. Over just a matter of time, sabr, patience, and love will melt the hardest of hearts. That's one definite lesson we have to learn from here. The Nadr bin Harith, there's a lot of Nadr bin Hariths today out there. And there are those within our own Muslim community, as you realize, who have gotten so far away of the deen that they are acting worse than the disbelievers. But that should not make us feel any ill feelings towards them. Pray for them and keep on continuing working upon them. Insha'Allah, you never know, they can get ahead of us. You never know, they can get ahead of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says in the next ayat, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ النَّعِيمِ. Indeed, those who believe and do righteous deeds, for them they have the gardens of delight awaiting for them. This is the opposite. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always uses the carrot and stick. Don't with kids at home always use stick, stick, stick. It doesn't work like that. Carrot and stick. Bashiran wa nadhira. Allah gives, Rasul was Bashiran, giver of glad tidings. There's some chai in the back if any of you are falling asleep. Although I'm going to finish in the next 5 minutes. But just in case, if you want chai, you may also take it on the way out. Or now if you need so. Chai means tea. There's some brothers who don't understand Urdu, sorry. You know chai, huh? Chai karak. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses Bashiran wa Nadhira, the giver of glad tidings. So this is the beauty of the Quran. Quran doesn't want to make your life depressing. Oh, always Jahannam, Jahannam, Jahannam. My friends, I want to say this to you. I'm hearing this so many times. The youth are saying that they get turned away from Islam because all they hear is hell, hell, hell. And punishment and punishment. There's actual cases of people leaving Islam. And you ask them why? And they say because of this. Because our Islam is just about punishment. And when you go to, mashallah, some other religions, it's awesome, chill. Already your sin's been taken care of. Do whatever you want, it's been taken care of. It sounds good to me too. If that was real, why not? I'd take that too if it's real. Someone already took care of your sins and mashallah, you just enjoy it. But it's not like that. So we have to share, like I'm talking about being mercy, share stories of mercy with our kids and our family as well. Allah forbid this should never happen, that we only talk about, if you miss salah, this can happen, monster, monster, monster. No, talk about the benefits. That if you pray salah, mashallah ta'ala, what rahmah and fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get. Those are the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala focuses. So after speaking about Nadr bin Harith and all those people, horrible punishment, immediately, it's not for everyone, not for people like you. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. That's for those who do believe in righteous deeds. Only for them, لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ النَّعِيمِ. They're gardens of delight. Allah could have just simply said jannat, gardens. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for added emphasis, said gardens of delight. And this is extra emphasis. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. Inshallah, you're able to go for a vacation with your family, but that vacation will last for 3 days. In this warm weather, in this cold weather, you go for 3 days warm. You got to come back. That's how every vacation is. It ends. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and that's it. You got to get back to work. Jannah, alhamdulillah, is not like that. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. A person shall remain in there forever. وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقًّا. It is the promise of Allah, a truthful promise. This is double emphasis. وَعَدَ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَعْدًا حَقًّا. Allah's promise is true. Why is that? Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says in the Quran that on the day of judgment, when all the decisions will be made and people will be destined to paradise, people will be destined to hell, and everyone will be walking, shaitan will give a speech, keynote speech. And shaitan will say, وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ. When everything will be decided, he's going here, she's going there, shaitan will speak up and he says, give me a few minutes. Let me have a few closing moments, closing remarks. And what does he say? إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعْدَ الْحَقِّ. Indeed, Allah had promised you a correct promise. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ. And I also promised you. فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. But I broke my promise. What are you going to do about it? فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. I just broke it. I was lying. I was just lying. وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ. And guess what? Don't blame me today. Because I never forced you. Sultan means power. I never had the ability to force you to do haram. Illa, all I did, دَعَوْتُكُمْ. I invited you. I invited you. فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. You accepted my invitation, like we just talked about, the voice of shaitan. I whispered in your ear. فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. And you accepted my invitation. فَلَا تَلُومُونِي. So please, don't blame me today. وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Blame yourself. مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ, I'm not going to be able to help you today. And guess what? وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِيَّ, and I know you can't even help me. إِنِّي كَفَرْتُ بِمَا أَشْرَكْتُمُونِ مِنْ قَبْلِ, I distanced myself from all the ascribing that you had done between me and Allah. Then you had worshipped me. I know I have no ta'alluq and no relationship with all of you. إِنَّ الظَّالِمِينَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And then Allah says, indeed, the oppressors, for them will be a painful torment. So Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is telling us that shaitan is promising you and Allah is promising you. But Allah's promise is haqq, is correct, it's truthful. And shaitan's promise is a bunch of lies. Shaitan says, get into an interest loan, get into an interest business, and you'll have lots of barakah, so-called barakah. You'll see all the money. And Allah says, no, don't do that. Take a lower paying job, but if it's halal, stick to that. Pay those installments, bigger installments, no problem. But if it's through a halal loan, do that. Stay. If you have to wait a little bit longer, wait. But make sure it's a halal food or halal income. And shaitan says, no, not right now, do it. They have two promises. Make sure you follow the promise of Allah. وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. Allah is overpowering and all-wise. Because Allah is overpowering, He ensures that His promises are fulfilled. Shaitan is weak. He promised you, but guess what? He could not deliver. Why? Because he's weak. And Allah is Aziz. He is overpowering and all-wise. That's why His promise. You see, notice what I just did? Every single name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is mentioned anywhere in the Quran, anywhere, at the endings. All of you, when you recite the Quran, you always see names of Allah coming at the endings of verses. Each and every single place where there is a name of Allah mentioned, there's a reason why that name is mentioned and no other name. You understand what I'm saying? So here, Aziz. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Aziz. Why is that mentioned here? Because it could be, how do I know Allah is going to fulfill His promise? How do I know right now that I should not change my name and my identity? And I should continue to donate towards Islamic causes? And I should continue to attend the masjid? And that Allah will protect me and my family? How do I know that? Aziz. Allah is all powerful. No one can overpower Allah. He will make sure that you succeed. He will make sure that no one puts you in a tight, difficult corner. You be with Allah, Allah will be with you. Al-Hakim, one translation of it is of course all-wise. Another translation like you had done in the beginning of last week, from Hakim, from Hikmah, which means protected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decisions are protected. No one can mess with it. We will just finish up this is not much here to share. And then I'll start with Luqman alayhi salam's story next week. So just bear with me inshallah, the translation of the next two ayats. خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens, بِغَيْرِ عَمَدٍ تَرَوْنَهَا, without pillars, تَرَوْنَهَا, that you can see. وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ, and He cast onto earth, rawasiya, anchoring mountains. Notice, I want to share this with you. Rawasiya means mountains. What's another famous word for mountains? Does anyone know here? Jibal, very good. Right? But amazing thing is that Jibal means mountains, but Jibal Allah uses in the Quran when it comes to movement. For example, وَحُمِّلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالِ, the earth and the mountains will be lifted, فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدًا, and they will be all shaken up before the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used سُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالِ, the mountains will be put into motion before the day of judgment. So mountains, when they are moving around, the word Jibal is used. And when mountains, when they're not moving, what's the word used? Rawasi, which is the plural of rasiya, which means pegs. Got it? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the balancing of the earth here. That the mountains have been placed in order to balance the earth. That although it's moving at such high speeds, you're not all moving from side to side and shaking from side to side. We're able to build homes and buildings and so forth. وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ, He cast on the earth anchoring mountains to balance it. أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ, so that it does not sway with you as it spins. وَبَثَّ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ دَابَّةٍ, moreover He spread about therein all species of every creature. Next. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً, and then He sent down from the sky water. فَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ زَوْجٍ كَرِيمٍ, then with the water He brought forth in the earth plants of every gracious kind. So the scholar here, he translated as plants in the brackets, but ulama have kept it open. Plants, animals, everything comes from water, even human beings. The pears come from water. All of that comes from Almighty Allah. هَذَا خَلْقُ اللَّهِ, this is the creation of Allah. Ayah number 11. Allah says, this is what I have done. Water, fruits, plants, everything is happening. فَأَرُونِي, then show me, مَاذَا خَلَقَ الَّذِينَ مِن دُونِي, all of those who you worship besides me, tell me what have they done. This is what I got to show. Proof is in the pudding. I showed you this. if you believe in shaitan, you believe in anyone else, why don't you go and ask them to show what they have done? بَلِ الظَّالِمُونَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Indeed, the wrongdoers are utterly lost in clear misguidance. Can anyone please share with me what I had already discussed earlier under this ayah? بَلِ الظَّالِمُونَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Inside. Good. That fi means inside. Those who are wrongdoers are utterly lost inside clear misguidance, so they can't see the big picture. They are so lost, there's no hope for them because they don't see the light. Their eyes are blinded inside their misguidance. So this is where the first ruku comes to an end, the first 11 ayats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after speaking about today, as we discussed, after speaking about the muhsineen, we talked about those who are not muhsineen, those who use entertainment and false stories to dissuade people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about their punishment, and then Allah Jalla Jalaluhu talked about, goes back to those who do good deeds, that how Allah will reward them. And then Allah Jalla Jalaluhu eventually ended this ruku' by mentioning His great powers, that and I am the only one who has given you everything that you need, and this creation of mine proves my greatness. So don't you think I'll give you Jannah? Don't you think I'll give you success? Why are you scared today? Wallahi, my dear brothers and sisters, my students, today the ummah is scared to follow the deen. They think if we follow the deen, we're going to lose it. We're going to miss out on life. If my son becomes righteous and pious, if my daughter becomes righteous and pious, if I throw out certain haram things from my life, then I will miss out on life. I won't be able to live life to its fullest. Why? Why is this deception of shaitan you and I are falling into, and the ummah is falling into? Allah is saying, this promise on me. You become mine, I'll become yours. Don't fear that following deen will ruin your life. No, my brothers. Wallahi al-azim. Following deen will make your life the best, the most enjoyable. May Allah Almighty allow these words to affect my heart, your heart, and all those others in the world. Inshallah ta'ala, may He make these words a means of guidance for us, ourselves, our families, and the entire ummah. May Allah Jalla Jalaluhu make our sitting here a means of in enlightening our hearts with the nur of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our sitting here make a means of forgiveness of our sins and a means of fulfillment of every permissible desires of ours. May Allah Jalla Jalaluhu allow the sacrifice that we have done today to gather here this night. May He make this a means of us being guided on the right path and allow us to see the light at the end of this tunnel, and allow us to be steadfast in the difficult storm that we're going through. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.